Today we have a couple scripture readings where the dominant image is a house. And this reminded me of a friend who was a very important spiritual mentor to me, Ingrid Trobisch. Ingrid and her husband Walter, who was a German Lutheran pastor, were missionaries in Africa. But I knew Ingrid through the Childs family in Springfield, Missouri, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. What made me think of Ingrid was that she moved into a cottage in Springfield after she was widowed, and she named her cottage Geborgenhaus. That comes from the German word Geborgenheit. Now, I was really surprised to learn that just a few years ago, this word Geborgenheit was voted the second most beautiful word in the German language. Surprised in part because I didn't know they had such contests. But yes, it was truly. It was in 2004, part of a competition sponsored by the German Language Council and the Goethe Institute. I had to look up how to pronounce that because it's spelled G-O-E-T-H-E, Goethe, which is a tourism bureau of sorts. But anyway, and you know, I'd tell you the other four words, but we're going to have enough trouble just pronouncing this one. So they didn't really choose it because it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, you know. But let's try and say it together. Geborgenheit. Ready? Geborgenheit. All right. So it's not that it's easy to pronounce. The reason it made it up so high in those honors is its meaning. What it means. Its meaning is somewhat intangible. It's not quite translatable. But first of all, what it means is a shelter. Geborgenheit is a shelter. Now, growing up in Plymouth, in my home there, our house was kind of built on a hill and built sort of into the side of that hill. Especially the garage was built into the side of a hill. This concrete garage, and so whenever the sky turned dark and weather was severe, we headed down there with flashlights and blankets and our dog Scampy, and I even remember carrying a turtle one time in its little turtle home down there, until we'd sit in the car in the garage until the storm passed. I mean, that's not exactly a happy association of a shelter. Usually I was pretty frightened as a little girl to be there. Now, to capture more of the essence of a real Geborgenheit place, you gotta add the qualities of warmth, closeness, love, acceptance, trust, peace. So I don't think sitting in the car in the garage, letting a storm pass meets all those criterias. No, actually, one of my favorite places to be when I was a kid was at my grandma's home, my Grandma Esther, my Swedish grandma, and specifically in her kitchen. I loved spending time there with her. Wonderful food came out of her humble kitchen. And I loved helping her, whether that was baking a cake or kuchen or cookies. I remember one of her proudest moments in her life was the year that the Churchwomen of Luther Memorial, that's down on Sheridan and Dowling. That's where I was baptized in my grandma's church. Anyway, the women voted her the best cook that year. She's really proud of that. But it wasn't just the wonderful smells in that kitchen. It was Grandma's love. Being in the warmth of Grandma's love and that one-on-one time with her. That was Geborgenheit. A little bit of heaven on earth. One might tell you Geborgenheit is when he goes home to his parents for Christmas and all the same fixings, favorite holiday foods have been prepared. Or another might say Geborgenheit is being with a friend and in whose presence she can easily cry and not be ashamed. I'd like to invite each of you for a few minutes now to think of a Geborgenheit place. Maybe it's from your childhood, or maybe it's someplace in the present right now. But I want you to think about that, and we're going going to just take a few minutes and share that with each other. And be sure to describe it in some detail. What does it feel like? So go ahead and let's do this. Geborgenheit.